Adding and subtracting real numbers. Today we start the process of learning algebra. So there's a couple rules we need to follow when adding and subtracting real numbers. And today what we're going to learn is how can we add or subtract any real numbers using the number line or using absolute value rules. By the end of the lesson, you'll be able to successfully add and subtract any real numbers. So this is just a little warm-up to go over how we would use the number line. So if we're going to start at 0, or we're going to label 0 in the middle of the number line, or approximately the middle there. All right, 1 plus 2. So if we're starting at 1 and we're adding to, remember adding means we're going to the right, then we're going to go 1, 2. So that's our final point, which is 3. And I know this is a super basic example, but again, it's just showing you how we're moving on the number line. If this represents 0 here, then our starting point would be 2 for this equation. 2 minus 1, remember anytime we see minus, we want to go to the left. So we're going to go to the left 1 unit, where this is going to be 1. So here 2 minus 1 is 1. Pretty simple stuff so far. All right, now we're going to talk about the absolute value. The absolute value of a number is its distance from 0 on a number line. All right, so if we have the number -2, its absolute value, which we write by using 2 bars on each side of it, is equal to 2, because it's 2 units away from 0. The absolute value of 10 is just going to be 10 because it's 10 units away from 0. So notice that both of these are just the positive version of what we're looking for. So what the absolute value of a number does is it makes it positive because all it is concerned with is the distance away from 0. Okay. Another vocab word to understand is then opposite. All right. And what opposites are just here, like it shows you, 3 and -3 are considered opposites. All right, so opposite means they have the same absolute value, but they're going in different directions. All right, now using the number line. So I'm going to label 0 again, because it's always good to know where 0 is. For this first example, and I'm going to leave it in black, we have 4. So we're going to start here, and we're adding, so you think we would go to the right, but then this little minus sign tells us to change directions. So we're adding -3. So instead of going to the right 3, now we're changing directions and going to the left 3. So 1, 2, 3 should give us right there, which is 1. The next example is 4 minus -3. So here we're going to start at 4, and it tells us minus. So minus, we're going to go left. But we have another negative, so we're going to change directions. So instead of going left because it's minus, we're going to go right 3 units. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And remember, these arrows say that this number line goes on and on. So we're going to stop here, which means it'll be 5, 6, 7. So 4 minus -3 is 7. Now let's look at -4 plus -3. So now we're going to start on the left side of the number line at -4. And we're going to add, so we're going right, but this negative, since we're changing directions, So now we're going left 3 units. So let's draw 2 more hashes in here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. Now we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, negative 7 units away from 0. And lastly, we have negative 4, so we're going to start here again. Minus 3. All right, so we're going to the left because we're subtracting. We don't need to change directions because it's not negative. 3 units. What do you know? We end up in the same place, so this must be negative 7. Interesting that whether we're adding the negative version or subtracting, we get the same answer. That's because, as you will see, they are the same thing. So here are some rules when we are adding real numbers. If the signs are the same, we are going to add. We're going to take the sum of the absolute values and then keep the sign. So 4 plus 3, we should know is just 7. But negative 4 plus negative 3, we're going to take the absolute value of each of these numbers because the signs are the same. We are going to then add those numbers. 4 plus 3, because the same means sum. We get 7. But remember, we started out with negative numbers, so now we have to pull that negative number back. So when we have the same signs, we're just going to add the absolute values of the numbers and keep the sign. I'm going to write keep the sign. When we have different signs, we're going to find the difference of the absolute values of both. So when we find the difference, we're going to do 4 minus 3, which equals 1. But since the signs are different, we can't keep the sign that matches both. What we want to do is we want to keep the sign of the larger number. So negative 1 is going to be our answer. Again, signs are different down here. We have a positive 4 and a negative 3. So we want to take the absolute value of both of them and subtract them. 4 minus 3. That just gives us 1. And it'll stay positive because the bigger number is positive. Hopefully this makes sense to you guys. All right, now we're going to talk about subtracting. The rules to subtract real numbers, all right, we're going to use this. Keep change, change. All right, keep change, change. KCC. That means we're going to keep the first number. We're going to change the sign. And we're going to change the sign of the number. All right, so keep the first number, change the operation, change the sign of the second number. Once we do that, we're going to follow our rules for adding real numbers. So here we have the same signs, so we're just going to add. So that's 7, and we keep the sign, negative 7. Keep change, change. 4, change the operation, change the number. Now signs are different, so we subtract. 4 minus 3 is 1. We keep the sign of the larger one, which is 4 in this case, so we have positive 1. And remember to circle and box your answers. All right, keep change, change again here. Negative 4 we keep. We change the sign. We change the operation. Okay, now we're adding numbers with different signs. So that means we subtract. 4 minus 3 is 1. We keep the sign of the larger number, negative 1. Should be our answer there. One last time, keep change, change. 4 plus 3 is just 7. So how does it apply? Here are some examples. Again, we're adding in this first one, so we're going to look at the signs. The signs are the same, so we're going to make sure that we add. When signs are the same, we find the sum. 16 plus 8 is 24. We keep the sign with negative 24. The second one, signs are different, so we want to subtract. 11 minus 9 is 2, but the larger number is negative, so we're going to keep the negative sign. Negative 8 minus negative 13, we're subtracting, so we want to keep change. Negative 8 we keep, we change the sign, we change the number. Now we go back to our addition properties. We have different signs, so we're going to find the difference. 13 minus 8 is 5. 13 is the larger number, so the number stays positive. Again, we have a subtraction down here, so we're going to keep change. 3.5, change the operation, plus, change the sign, negative 12.4. So signs are different. We're going to subtract. 12.4 minus 3.5 should give us 8.9. But we're going to keep the negative sign because 12.4 is the larger number. So how else does this apply? If we're given a word problem, we just write it out as we go along. So a reef explorer dives 25 feet, which means he's going down. So if he's going down, we're going to use minus 25. To photograph brain coral. Then he rises. I'm going to use green for going up. 16 feet. I'm going to use the plus. To travel over a ridge before diving, so he's going back down. 47 feet. To survey the base of the reef. Now he's rising again. This time it's 29 feet to see an underwater cavern. Now the question, what is the location of the cavern in relation to sea level? So let's write out our problem here. We should have negative 25 plus 16 minus 47 plus 29. All right. So what I'm going to do is just do this in steps. So first I'm going to do negative 25 plus 16, just like we would if we were doing order of operations. Signs are different, so we subtract. 25 minus 16 is 9. The bigger sign is negative. We keep the negative. Then we rewrite the rest. Now we do the next two. I'm going to change colors so it's easier to see. Here we're subtracting, so we want to keep the first number, change the sign, change the number. So change the operation, change the sign. Now we have the same signs, so we want to add. 47 plus 9 is 56. However, both of them are negative, so we're going to keep the negative. So now we have negative 56, bring down the rest, plus 29. Signs are different, so we subtract. 56 minus 29 should give us 27, but the larger number is negative, So we find that we are 27 feet still below sea level. Now that you've learned how to add and subtract using real numbers, we're going to try some of these examples with the questions following this lesson. In the next lesson, we're going to see how we can multiply and divide real numbers.